Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this episode of the Magical Human Show. We've shifted to a Monday because of other commitments, but also it's a blue full moon and all kinds of other stuff, and Mercury retrograde, and there's a whole load of planets going into retrograde and misbehaving and screwing everyone's lives up, I'm hearing. Claire, do you want to tell us a little bit about the state of the cosmos?
Thanks. Yeah, I would love to tell you about the state of the cosmos with help from June. And because I've just been away for a couple of weeks, that doesn't mean that I am not aware of what's going on in the cosmos. But it does mean that I might be slightly more floaty than normal. But basically, yeah, so we have a supermoon and it is in Aquarius and it is also a Holly full supermoon. So, what we can expect from that, with it being in Aquarius, we think about all the traits related to Aquarius. We think of humanity, we think of truth, we think of information, like communication. We've got all that kind of it's really about the integrity of your message. Like, how aligned are you? Because this is happening under Leo. So this is happening under your heart. So this kind of message that you're communicating to the collective consciousness about your frequency, are you aligned in your heart? And you mentioned retrogrades, and Mercury for sure is retrograde. And Mercury is retrograde in Virgo. So there is this kind of very much a kind of soupy feeling, like pea soup. It's like draining certain people's energies. They don't feel like they can get things done quickly. It's making all manner of things go wrong. I had lots of exciting, stressful moments on holidays with the hire car. Cars seem to be the theme of my life at the moment, and cars represent control. I do have control issues, so I can acknowledge that. But it just kind of like this whole reflective, Mercury is inviting reflection. It's like, come on, let's think about some of the stuff that's gone on this last few months. How does it fit? Everyone's super triggered at the moment. Uranus is hyperactive for some people. Certainly for me, I've been having heart palpitations, many of them. And kind of it's because it's Leo as well. It's like, what is your relationship to other? What is your relationship to yourself, and what is your relationship to other? And Uranus is like the highest version of Mercury. So it's like the spiritual energy, it's your communication, it's like all up there. And Uranus is got quite a bad reputation. They say, oh, Uranus, it's the planet of destruction and chaos and sudden shifts and changes, etc. But those things happen for your highest good. So if you're on the wrong path, Uranus gets you back on the right path. So the way of looking at that is to just be like, okay, it feels like I'm in like serious crisis at the moment. What the hell is going on? I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to step back. I'm going to look at this gently with kindness for myself at all aspects of it and try and find out what the higher purpose is, which isn't always easy to do, obviously, because we're humans, and quite a lot of us live in our lower chakras, which is, in reaction rather than response. We want to kind of move towards more of a kind of response space, but that all is all about how aligned you are with your heart. How is that for an explanation?
Anything you want to add, June?
Yeah, I mean, did you see me pulling faces throughout that? I was like, yeah. Ah. Um, but yeah, there's also, I was listening to another podcast this morning about today, and they were reminding me that Mercury is what was conjunct the sun at 5 o'clock this morning. So that was quite important as well. And I feel like, yes, I really do feel the Uranus pull because this is right now, it's all that, like we've been talking about for months, isn't it? The ancestral threads that we all need to address. And I think that's being really brought to a head right now. And also threads that have been a pattern through our lives are like, this is the final, well, it might not be the final thing, but it's another opportunity to deal with that stuff that has been holding us back, that was not allowing us to be our true selves. And now we if we deal with these, well, at least some of them anyway, there's always going to be something else. It's like doing EFT. As soon as you tap something away, something else crops up. So, it's like there's always going to be another layer of the onion. But when you said stand back and do nothing, I went, you're kidding me. You're kidding. If I stand back and do nothing, everything is going to fall apart. That's how it feels to me. And I do have control issues. I don't even have a car, but I do have control issues. And I feel like it's been all my fault that things are not as good as they should be right now. And well, yeah, partly it is my responsibility. We'll not talk about fault, responsibility. But things are what they are. And this is part of what's going on right now, is accepting. Everybody I talk to is having to let go again. Here we go, letting go of something. I'm helping everybody I can to let go of one thing, just one thing. Write it down and burn it or bury it. Something, just do one thing. And I'm desperately trying to let go of that thing in me that makes me feel like I have to be the strongest person in the room, and I have to continually carry everything and make everybody else comfortable before I'm allowed to be comfortable. So that's my big letting go this month.
Or
Yeah.
make peace. I come from a place of making peace with those parts of ourselves. I don't feel that it's personally realistic to let go and get rid. It's integration and acceptance. And
Yeah.
it's like knowing that that is important to you in order for you to feel comfortable, and finding some way of going, okay, well, if that is important to me, I can't shift that, but I can work with it and understand that if I don't get these things done, then I'm not going to feel very good about it because that's my character.
Yeah, that's not quite that. What I do is I make other people feel comfortable and then I don't feel good. So I can't carry on doing that. I have to
Yeah, you give yourself away.
it's about boundaries. I have to stop before I give too much away. And I
Yeah.
have to go, okay, look, make yourself all right.
Prioritize you. So
Yeah.
you're learning, because that's also what this is about, isn't it? It's like learning to prioritize. And I was talking to some people this morning, and they were saying, which was I found useful for this, was this repetitive patterns, is the fact that we've got greater clarity. So the
Yes.
super moon brings this greater clarity into kind of focus. So it might feel like familiar patterns, familial patterns.
Both.
It might feel like all of that, but it's the clarity around them. It's like you really have let me down and I'm not okay with it, and that is how it is. As opposed to which part do I play in this, or am I hugely reactive and I can't actually get to a space where I can be less reactive? So it's like people are again like able to make clearer decisions about how they wish to progress and who they wish to progress with. um Tamar,
Yeah.
what do you have to say?
It's not all so in therapy, a lot of it is, what can I control? What do I want to do about this part of myself? But sometimes it is, this person is not someone that should be in my life anymore, and I'm just going to let that relationship go because it's not healthy for me, not healthy for them, and you're just not part of my future path. And that's okay too. I have clients where it's sort of, I need to change and I need to do this, and actually their partner has a part in that relationship as well, and you can't carry everything for everybody. And it's the people pleaser side, which I think might be what you're talking about, June, about making sure everyone else, are you an eldest daughter perchance, because that's
Oh,
very
yes,
common.
yes,
Yeah,
I am.
eldest daughter has to fix everyone else. Yeah, and it's kind of this pattern. Yeah,
Yeah.
so sometimes you do have to let relationships
Are
go.
we all three eldest daughters?
I think we've ascertained this. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I think we've had this, but also not only that, I have my moon in Cancer, so I'm doomed to try and mother everybody. It's just like,
Yeah, you can't
Yeah,
be everyone's mum.
got to step back from that a little bit.
a
How about
little bit.
myself for a little bit?
You can
Yeah.
be nurturing, but you can't be everyone's mum. And I
Yeah.
think there's a difference. You can care and help people around you and be helpful and
Absolutely.
kind and
Yeah.
accessible, but you cannot be accessible by everyone all the time, and you can't fix everyone.
You
And
can't
it's
take
it's having that boundary. Sorry, Claire.
Sorry, I spoke over you. Can't take responsibility.
Mm.
No, and you're doing someone else a disservice by taking that responsibility off them. You're infantilizing them.
Yes.
So although they may not want to take responsibility, it's actually better for them and healthier for them if they do. And you allowing them is an act of kindness.
Oh, I like that word, Tamar.
Yeah.
I really do. Can I tell you another good word I learned the other day? Psychonaut. A
Oh, new word.
psychonaut
Tell us.
is one of those people that's addicted to taking psychotropic journeys. And so they're called a
Is
psychonaut,
this
like an
different to a
astronaut.
drug addict?
Pardon?
Is this different to drug addict then? Is
Well,
this
I think people
it's because
take
it's for
these
growth rather than
psychotropic because
avoidance.
it's natural.
I
And
see.
you,
And the intention is growth, not avoidance of the problem in their life, which
yeah,
is
they
really
want to
good.
kind of get in touch with a more spiritual side of themselves or the aspects of that plant. And I was discussing it with someone the other day and they brought this term up and I thought it was really interesting. And we decided that there was probably, this is, if I offend anyone here, that's fine. I'm sorry, I take full responsibility. Probably more men that were psychonauts than women because we have the universe inside of us. We give life. We have all this kind of expansion capacity naturally inherent within us. And for them, they probably find it more difficult to communicate with their inner selves, spirit, etc. That was, that is a judgment I've made, and I will probably be shot down in flames, but
Not by
I'm going to
me.
say women are naturally more in that space. I think men just need that little bit of help to get there. I think we kind
and
of
more
live.
likely to be addicted to the high that comes of it, as opposed to the kind of, more gentle approach,
But
perhaps.
there's nothing wrong with having a curious mind. As long as you do it safely, don't just take something random you've had off someone in the street and go into the woods on your own and take it. Be in a safe environment and know what you're taking. But, there's nothing wrong with a curious mind.
With guides, yes. Sorry, so I took us off our self-depreciating onto psychonauts. But
Psychonaut, great term. So how are you all doing with the Mercury retrograde and everything? Because I'm kind of in this very kind of batten down the hatches calm space, but I do an awful lot of energy work around my home. So things are kind of touch wood calm here, but everyone around me, it seems there's absolute chaos going on. I've got this very good friend of mine who's a wedding photographer who decided to write a cookbook during the pandemic, and it's public. The day they've arrived today. But last week he went to the publishers and the publishers got hit by lightning and all the systems went down. He woke up at 5 o'clock this morning to water pouring through his ceiling because there was a leak upstairs. And he's like, oh, it feels like this is never going to happen. And I sort of said, it's okay. Mercury's in retrograde. Things are going wrong, but you have to be uncomfortable before you move on to like a higher plane. Good things are coming. And he's just posted a video and the books have arrived and everything's fine. So I'm going to go and order one. But I've got other people where their relationships are imploding or they're being scammed trying to buy concert tickets, and it just feels like there's this chaos all around. Are you guys suffering from that, or are you kind of in a calm space? Speak, somebody.
All at the same time, all of it. Yes. And also I feel like I am calm in the center of this whirling stuff, and I feel like somehow I shouldn't be calm, but I am. And yeah, it's bizarre. Time is doing very weird things. It's like stretching out and shrinking all at the same time. It's all very odd, but it's all photon belt and solar flares and all that stuff. And I am listening to good, sensible people who are making me feel like I'm not alone, and that really helps. And if this can help other people not feel alone in the confusion and chaos, then that's our job done. I feel like we have a part to play in that. And I had this marvelous yoga nidra, right, one-to-one session with someone who's coming to work with us. We've got a whole bunch of new people wanting to come and work with us. I've got new people wanting to work with me individually, people wanting to come to my workshops again. It's all sorts of good stuff is going on. But this yoga nidra was just amazing. She said, set it up, and it looked like the sky behind you. She said, imagine night sky full of stars, and then draw that down inside yourself. And at the end of it, the whole thing, I mean, it went on really beautifully and long, and to talk me through the whole yoga nidra thing. And I didn't fall asleep, which I usually do, but I was very much present. And at the end of it, I felt like a colander or one of those lamps with the holes in where the light comes out. And I felt like I was beaming out light in all these like little stars all around me. And I just felt, oh, wow, that was amazing. And I'm carrying that with me. That was last week or the week before. And I had a tuning fork feeling, and I had reflexology on Sunday yesterday. And so I'm doing a lot of caring for myself, which I think if people are lucky enough to have people around them who can do that, then I would highly recommend that too. And do the energy work around your house, do the smudging, do the crystals in the corners, have the crystals with you. I mean, I had somebody shouting at me, and I felt I needed my amber on me now, as well as my other crystals. I felt a little bit of protection is necessary. So, yeah, and these things do help.
Mm.
Mm.
Yeah.
Are you, Claire, are you suffering with the chaos, or are you pretty calm?
I have felt since probably, I'm trying to think whether it was the new moon or before that, like distinctly internally uncomfortable. I took a friend's flower essence, which was digitalis foxglove, and she said this will bring up ancestral stuff. And I was in such a good place. I was like, fine, bring it on. And since then, I have been really like, oh, really churned up, like, the seabed where there's been a storm and all the kelp's been ripped out. So I have been, and very churny, very, very churny, and very distinctly uncomfortable, seeing like patterns and just, yeah, really just, yeah, just thinking, I don't know if I want to do this, it's like that feeling of just like, oh God, does it ever going to get any better? Even though it was really good. So it's like, and I'm empathic, so I'm aware that I do this. That's my way. And then I listened to Heather Emsworth, who June you remind me of, and her gentle voice. And I listened to Pam Gregory as well when I got back from holiday. And because also an interesting thing, when I went on holiday, I thought, do you know what? I'm always taking all these vitamins with me and all these supplements. I'm just not going to take them. I'll only take a couple and I'll see how I get on. Never again. I will take all my supplements with me because my mental health fell off a cliff. And that's how much I know my vitamins work. I've started taking them again and I instantly feel better. But I was taking my vitamins. I'm doing kind of like you say, Tamar, you put protection around your place. I'm basically going out for crack of dawn walks. I'm swimming. I'm June, doing self-care as well. I've booked in self-care. It's like the self-care levels at this time have to go right up because it is so distinctly uncomfortable. But I feel, and as you were talking, and what you said about kind of community and people coming together, the more we're sharing this and sharing what we know together, the easier it is to get through because it stops those feelings of isolation. And literally everyone I've spoken to has been saying they felt really lonely on their path, really kind of inner chaos on their own. So it's like just shows the power of community is basically what I'm saying. Is like sharing that and just saying you're not alone. This is a really difficult time. I also think with spiritual journeys, when you start on them, it's like a one-way ticket. You kind of, the more sensitive you get, the more aware you become, the more influenced you become, the more sensitive and susceptible. And you can't kind of go back on that. You can't remove yourself back to a state of ignorance. So it kind of, with that comes this kind of, you're feeling the planet. So when I heard the planetary stuff, I was just like, oh, I'm literally modeling that. It's like, and I'm sure we all are. We're all modeling that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's so true.
So that is it. My other thing to bring to you today is raw milk.
Okay.
Now, can I check, is this legal? Or have I seen it on a TV program and it's another country where it's illegal?
No, it's legal over here. I'm buying it legally.
Right, okay.
Yeah, I'm buying it from
It
a
was probably
local
just some
farm.
random American TV show or something. I'm never sure.
No, they've tried to stop people from getting it because it's full of goodness.
It's
Like
amazing.
it's like the chickens with their, salmonella jabs. It's utter insanity. Pasteurized milk is denuded of all goodness and is absolutely pointless. You shouldn't
Okay.
drink it at all. And I don't like saying should, but really, in this case, should not.
Okay.
Because regular milk from the supermarket is full of antibiotics, growth hormones, distressed cattle, and and then it's boiled to a point where it's lost all its original nutrients if it had any anyway. So yeah, you want organic grass-fed milk if you can get it, and raw if you can get it. It's very hard to find raw milk.
So just for balance, are there risks with raw milk? Because obviously they pasteurize it for a reason.
No,
So what?
they
Because
pasteurize.
otherwise it would just be available for everyone. There must be some reason that they think it's not good for you, or they're saying it's not good for you.
Well, it's cheaper to produce, isn't it? Because you're not taking it through all those processes that you're told it needs. So, I mean, there's listeria, but I don't think that, basically, like anything, if your immune system is strong and you're healthy, you'll be able to cope with it. It's when your immune system is compromised that you are more susceptible. It's that terrain theory again. Like, you can only get ill if you're not in balance. If you're balanced, then you can go and see sick people and you remain absolutely fine. So I think with raw milk, there is little risk. In fact, if anything, the rewards far outweigh the minimal risk of taking it for repopulating gut bacteria, which is what I'm taking it for because I have so many digestive issues. That's like my weakest chakra is my sacral chakra. It's my most powerful chakra and my weakest chakra all at once. So when I'm out of sync, so is my digestive system. That's how it shows up for me. So I'm really working on someone gave me a book called Plastic Processed People for my birthday. I didn't read much of it, but it just made me think, God, I've come so far away from eating food in its natural state because I'm gluten free and I'd been dairy free. And, the list of ingredients on the back of what I'm eating is like this big, it's got so much rubbish in it. And I was like, why am I doing this? I just need to get back to really healthy, nourishing food. So that's kind of my focus, and I feel a lot better for it.
And
That's interesting.
blessing the food and making sure that you're eating stuff and saying, I'm taking in what's good from here and letting go what I don't need and will not be good for me. And that's the key thing, because we cannot control being having come to terms with the fact that I have been a control freak all my life. I don't necessarily want to be that person anymore. And I think I have very much let go of the fact that I can't control what's in the food. They're putting all sorts of garbage in it in the name of safety. And I think you will find that Pasteur, the man who gave his name to this kind of let's kill all the germs attitude, was a fraud. And that whole germ theory is being totally rubbish now. And there's plenty of evidence. We can put the names of the books in the description below, and the information. There's videos, there's books, there's all sorts of people explaining why we shouldn't be doing half the things we do to our food in the name of safety. And the whole salmonella thing, I mean, I'm convinced, and this is probably slanderous because she's still alive, Edwina Curry created this whole scandal back in the 80s about salmonella as a deflection from, she didn't want everybody to look at what she was up to with John Major. Just saying, it's a possibility. Politicians
Allegedly, say allegedly, please, June.
Allegedly, it's always a possibility that if politicians might be doing something as a smokescreen, and it wasn't necessarily for our safety at all.
It's so, yeah, and just to back that up, not the political statement, but a backing up about food and stuff. I was speaking to a cheesemaker. We have a good local cheesemaker, and he doesn't produce raw milk. I said, why don't you produce raw milk and raw cheese? And he was like, oh, the hoops that you have to go through to make it not financially viable for such a large producer. But he said to me, I said, I've not eaten cheese regularly for a long time, but I love cheese and I'm just getting back into raw milk. And I love your cheese because it is divine. And I said, but I tend to go more for sheep cheese than cow cheese. He said, absolutely. He said, because we've messed around with cows for so many decades, he said a cow's cheese will take about 6 to 8 hours to get through the guts, whereas a sheep's cheese will take about half an hour.
Unfortunately, I'm intolerant to sheep. I can't consume it.
You can have goat, can you?
I think I can. I had goat's milk for a little while.
Well, it's just the fact that it's less manipulated, and that's what you want. Unless you can find a herd like these people that are producing raw cheese that have the raw cow's milk, unless you can find a herd that's not being kind of jabbed up to its eyeballs and is pasture fed, etc.
Mm. See, I have a suspicion I might have this leaky gut thing, but I'm not quite at the time yet when I'm ready to. I think the diet restriction thing, food is one of the few pleasures I have in life. I'm just not willing to restrict anything yet. I'm sure I'll get there at some point, but for now, I'm just going to accept it, I think. But, making little changes, like I'm going to try grow my own potatoes.
Mhm.
And think, we don't eat an awful lot of fruit and veg in this house, but the few bits we do, I was like, maybe I'll have a go at growing them for myself, just little bits, just for us, and try and get more to the natural stuff. But like you say, June, we can't control it, but everything is ultra processed. I know it's not as bad as the USA, where they seem to add a load of, you compare two products from UK and USA, and USA's got like double the list of ingredients with the stuff they put in. I know we're not as bad, but there's so much done to the food that, like you say, you can't control. But like, I can't have a cow and get my own steaks from the garden. There's a limit to what people can do, I think. But I think that then leads on to the community living, because I was asking about, buying land and building a house. And I think you said, June, about people are doing it as communities, and sort of between you can produce a little bit more as a group. And maybe that's the way forward. That would be nice.
Or buying small, go to your farmer's market, Tamar. Go and buy from the farmers that can. That's what I do. And he's like, yeah, I don't have a cow either, but I'm going to make sure I damn well know where my meat's been, because we are what we eat on every single level. So if the animal has had a good quality life and hasn't suffered, then it's going to be a lot better quality experience that I'm taking on the energy of that than if it's produced in the supermarket. I don't ever buy meat from the supermarket if I can help it, because it's just, well, I try not to buy many things from the supermarket, to be honest with you. I have to buy some things, but yeah, dry goods and tinned goods. But yeah, it just consciousness around that. And leaky gut, you can heal it pretty easily if you are. I healed mine really quickly as long as you stick to it. And it's things that you don't, like garlic was mine. You don't know that, and broccoli, that on the face of it look really healthy, but actually were causing me leaky gut syndrome.
And how did you find out what the things were you had to restrict?
I saw a guy that had a couple of, he had a very complex machine that I held the electrodes of, and it basically it fired all these sound frequencies into my immune system, and then it builds it works out the frequencies and tells you what you're actually specifically got a problem with. It's fantastic.
Or
you can you reintroduce those foods later on? Sorry, June. Or is that like for life?
No, I think you probably can. I think that's the idea, is once you heal it, etc. But I haven't been able to reintroduce garlic yet. I mean, it gives me severe pain when I have it. So I just avoid it, and it's a pain to do it. But I hope in time, maybe with the raw milk and the more natural stuff, I'll get there, because I love garlic.
Sorry, June, what were you saying? I spoke over.
Fasting is a good way of healing the damage to your intestines, because it doesn't take that long for the body to repair itself if you give it a chance. So a little bit of fasting is not a bad idea. But a kinesiologist can ask your body the questions of what you need, and the things. I tend to ask people people's bodies, which things are the things that are good for them, rather than the things to avoid. So it's a more positive kind of approach. Try putting these things in that are going to help you. And, there are herbs, there are herbal remedies that are good for helping to heal, and homeopathy and acupuncture and things, aromatherapy. There's all those things for people to explore, and I think more and more people are now thinking that way, because there isn't a pill to fix that, because basically it's due to toxins. I mean, I developed a leaky gut because we talked about this when we were talking about the digestive system before. I developed leaky gut through having had, well, you see now, now I'm thinking back on it, I don't think it was an infection of any bacteria that I thought, people said, oh, it's that juice drink, that milky juice drink that you had by the side of the road. I don't think it was that at all. I think it was all the travel vaccines that I had. And that's where it hit me. And then I took a horrible medication that was supposed to fix the fix the dysentery that I had, because they claimed I had an amoebic dysentery. But this is way before I was only 18, way before I knew anything about anything really. And I just believed what was given to me. And then I found out later on that that drug was withdrawn from the market because it was actually killing people. So my digestive system is a lot more robust than I was led to believe. And you know, I've been okay, but there's still, but a lot of our digestive things are emotional, aren't they? I mean, your solar plexus is your connection to other people. That's where the filaments, if someone dies or leaves, you get cut off. It's literally broken, that connection. And it's like a punch in the gut. People feel that. People say that they felt like this bereavement has felt like a punch in the gut. And it's something that we need to settle with. And
It's the sacral chakra, isn't it? Not the solar plexus.
no, I think it's the solar plexus with filaments to other people.
Oh, I've always thought it was the sacral chakra, personally.
Hey,
Interesting.
yeah.
Hmm.
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 Not sure where. See, I can't quote my source on that one, so this is a problem. I always like to be able to quote my source, but I don't remember.
You're going to have to let go of that control issue, Scorpio, and just trust that you think that that's right. I think it's definitely, for me, it's definitely the the sacral chakra. So
Hmm.
it's
Hmm.
not this. If I stand up, it's not here. It's
Yeah,
here,
right, right.
which is the
Yeah,
the womb part,
yeah,
and lower back, which is why people have lots of lower back issues.
sure enough.
And yeah, interesting. So, Tamar, from that, why don't you do some home kinesiology with your son? Because what you can do is you put your arm out and you get him to press down on your hand and you resist, and then you hold the thing like a potato and you ask him like to put the pressure on, you see if you can resist. And if there's no resistance, then basically that shows your body's going, no, I don't like that. And even if stuff is in packets, it still works.
Yeah,
Okay.
except that you can't just stick your arm out and lean on it. That's not advisable. I'm sorry. You have to calibrate first. You have to switch on and switch off, and you have to check yes and no, and you have to do all of those questions first. And there's priorities, there's pre-tests that you have to do with the eyes and the ears. I mean, I'm happy to talk you through this on a Zoom. Absolutely.
Well, talk us all through it. Not this one, but on the next one, because that would be super interesting.
But June, is this a
I need
service that
another
you?
body with me to
Yeah. Is this
show it.
is this a service that you offer in your wellness centre?
It is, isn't it?
Mhm.
Okay, so people local to you can come and buy this service from you,
And
can't
I
they?
teach it. Yeah, I teach Touch for Health, which is basically the original kinesiology, and that's the one that you start from basic stuff,
Mhm.
learning how to listen to the body's answers. But if you just stick your arm out, it's uncertain what could be affecting that. The thoughts of the person being balanced,
Oh,
or
okay.
the person doing it. If people have a strong attachment to something, I've done
Chocolate.
this with people. Yeah, if people have a strong for sugar, for example, their body will
Mm,
go, yeah, I need that.
yeah, yeah.
And it's because
Well,
they're totally addicted to it. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And
but
then
I'm assuming you're
my
talking
arm says
about
so yeah.
processed sugar because I saw a thing about neurodivergence, so ADHD, autism, things like that, that our brains need more glucose than neurotypical brains. And he's kind of going through a list. He's going, this is not hard sweets, this is not chocolate, this is not stuff like that. It's glucose, which is nuts and dried fruits and things like that. So I got excited for a moment and then less
And then
excited. I was
came
like, I'm
down.
supposed to eat the sugar. No, he didn't mean processed sugar. Yeah. So it's about knowing what it is you're referring to. So you're talking about the processed crap that's bad for
And
you.
yeah, and the questioning, like what the question is.
Asking the right
You have to
question.
be
Yeah.
clear and be neutral in your mind. The person being tested needs to be neutral. And it's spirit of inquiry. It's really like just being curious, not being fixed on an outcome. That's the really important thing with muscle testing. It's very important to just be like, oh, let's just see where this goes. And we'll write down the answers because this is how you're feeling right now. It's like a blood test. That's only, I mean, there's there's companies that do these things, charge hundreds of pounds to take a drop of blood from a bit of your vein in that moment, that piece of blood that's passing through that vein at that moment. And then they tell you all sorts of stuff that people take as the gospel truth for their whole life forever. And it's not, we're constantly changing.
Yeah. Snapshot.
Constantly shifting and changing. Oh, do you know what? Something I keep quoting to people. What was it Pam Gregory said something the other day about we are shifting from being carbon-based human beings to crystalline-based human beings. I think it was Pam Gregory.
It was.
Remember that? And I thought, geez, yeah, we're all becoming diamonds. Except that diamonds are very hard, and we're not going to be hard. We're going to be all plasma-y.
Squishy diamonds.
Squishy diamonds. Yeah, isn't that cool?
That is cool. June, can I ask you something?
Sure.
So you said about having sound baths. So I've booked one in, I think it's October. A friend of a friend's just trained in it, and I've booked us in because it sounds very interesting and exciting. What is it actually for? What does it do? It's healing, right?
Bath with the singing bowls.
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's like a healing thing. Yeah.
And the twinkly.
Is it about your vibration?
It is about the vibration.
Okay.
Yeah, because
I'm very excited.
It's tuned to a different note, and if they have the full set, each of them pertains to a different chakra. And so a really good sound tuning person knows, and they work you through it. It's very gentle and lovely, and you can just lie there and float off and just let the sounds wash over you. They kind of go through you. You know, it's like when you go to a concert and you hear heavy bass, you can really feel that going through you. Well, it's like that, but on a more gentle level, if they don't bash the gong really hard, because that's a bit
or sometimes the crystal bowls can be a bit kind of screechy. So yeah. I prefer the Tibetan bowls. They're much kind of the sound. I just prefer it. It's more
that brass. They're brass, aren't they? I think.
I believe so. Yeah, I will feedback after I have it. I'm very excited.
That'd be lovely. No, I had tuning forks.
I have tuning forks. I tune people.
I don't use them, except I'm not trained, but somebody who does them gave me these to cleanse the space, and I go around my room with them, and I go over the.
Why don't you just? I put mine on my heart, so I tune it and then put it on people's heart chakras before circle and stuff like that, or on the top of their head, just to align them. Beautiful.
Because I'm not trained.
Stop being necessarily trained.
You're doing it on yourself.
Yes, you can do it on yourself.
On the couch and the room, and that's enough. If somebody this person's going to come and work with us, hopefully, and she's going to offer that service. So I think let her.
Let her do it. But what I mean is, you can do it on yourself, June.
Yes,
telling yourself you're not bloody trained.
I think putting them. I don't know. Yeah, I just being so sensitive. You know, you have to be careful.
Yeah. I bought a little singing bowl, and I'm just working on trying to keep the sound going, because then it will hop off and it just breaks it and I have to start again. So I just like it for cleansing the space in the house, but I just like the sound.
Lovely.
And I bought a little singing bowl that I put out in the garden, so when it rains, the rain hits it and does this little tinkling. It's beautiful.
Lovely.
Yeah, I'm very into sound. I've got bells at all the doors and all that. I love.
But you're going to love it then. It's your medicine, Tamar. It's your medicine.
Music is medicine, definitely.
It is, isn't it? Yeah, I'd like to know more about the solfeggio sounds and all of that, and the different. I still don't understand all those different layers, the hertzes and things, because we are sound as well as plasma. We're all those things, aren't we?
And hertz is so important, because the music used to be at a certain hertz, which was calming, and then the music industry as a whole shifted it to a more disruptive one. But then I was recommended a band probably a couple of years ago now, and I listened to the album, and it was like I was hypnotized, and I listened to it over and over and over again, which I do anyway because I'm neurodivergent. It's like consuming it. But for months I listened to it, and I didn't listen to it for a little while because something happened. And it was like a hypnotism had been broken. It was really weird. And I'm convinced they're at that particular hertz, but I have no way of finding out.
I think it's 432 and the music industry moved to 440.
Yeah. So this particular album, I'm pretty sure, is at the 432, because it was like being hypnotized. It's very interesting. But yeah, yes, music is medicine.
It is.
Fascinating.
Okay, ladies, anything else you want to add today before we finish? No?
I think that's it's been good. It's been a complete.
It has. So then I think we're back a week on Friday. Is it around the new moon? Do have a date somewhere. Have a little chart.
Yeah, the 30th. The 30th.
Okay.
Okay.
Yes, so we'll be back on the 30th for the new moon show. Okay, everyone. Lovely to speak to you all. See you then.
It's in my calendar. Good.
It was a good start. Take care, everyone. See you soon.
See you later.